system's rigged, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free.
Very detailed notes,
Yes.
and other people didn't at all. And then
Right.
you wonder, and we've even seen it here in the media pool, the notes that come out are there's some differences between what people thought was important to emphasize and to
Absolutely.
detail, and so perhaps your notes are a little bit different than another juror's notes. I know that you've been on a jury before.
Yeah.
You've had to deliberate.
Yes.
You know what it's like when there's a strong personality or
Yep.
a strong holdout.
Right.
Walk us through that a little bit.
I mean, again, everyone has to come to a unanimous consensus. They pick a jury foreman, somebody that kind of runs the proceedings back there. And, in my case, it was a domestic violence case. We took a straw vote ahead of time, and then we just went piece by piece discussing the evidence. In the situation that I was in, it was in Marion County, not tons of exhibits.
time or not a verdict at that time mean? Does that mean that they're leaning one?
mean, I want the courthouse behind us, so if we need to move down to the corner, we can move down to the corner.
Well, if we go that way, it'll even be worse. We cannot look. Gonna move down to the other corner?
I don't care. We gotta make up our mind because we gotta.
How long do we have?
I don't know.
Hey,
Hey,
guilty, all counts.
I didn't know what the plan was. I'm with Eldon.
Ready to move?
Okay, are we breaking in? Yeah. If we're gonna move, we gotta move now.
Tell
Okay.
me, do we have time?
Just he doesn't like the sun behind me.
I mean, we can't shoot it.
Okay. Okay. Go. 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 They're going. We gotta get the shot up like now, though.
2-1.
Okay, I'm calling in now.
1-1, 2-1.
Okay, calling it back.
Fine.
Okay, we gotta get dialed in like now. They're asking for us.
Text to me about.
Do you have the microphone?
You got it right there.
I'm on IFB. I'm trying. I mean, I was the last person out of the courtroom. A white balance, please. White balance.
The mic out there.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Stand by. Mark, after about 19 hours of deliberating for the jury, they found Richard Allen guilty on all 4 charges in the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. More than 7.5 years of waiting for the family of Abby and Libby. And I can tell you, when the verdict was read, everyone was crying, both Richard Allen's family and Abby and Libby's family. Many members of Libby's family kind of saying yes when that first count of guilty verdict was read. Those 4 charges: count 1, felony murder, found guilty on all 4 counts. Count 1, felony murder for the death of Abigail Williams. Count 2, felony murder for the death of Liberty German. Count 3 for the killing of Abigail Williams, and count 4 for the killing of Liberty German, something the family has been waiting for 7.5 years to hear. When the verdict was read, the family, as I just mentioned, started crying, started hugging each other, and just as the family was about to leave after the jury read their verdict, it only took a couple of minutes for that to be read. Many of the family members were hugging investigators. Investigators were crying. The prosecution team was crying, but they also were smiling. These were obvious happy tears. It's a lot. It's a lot for this family to be dealing with for all this time, waiting 19 hours or so to hear that verdict. And after the verdict was read, the defense team actually asked for a roll call from every single one of the jury members to confirm that it was their belief that Richard Allen was to be found guilty on all 4 charges. The entire 12-person jury answered the judge saying yes, that was their verdict. Now, when it was read, Richard Allen's family, they were seen crying. Richard Allen's wife could not get up. She sat in her chair. She couldn't get up. Richard Allen's mother also struggling to stand up, having to be held up by family members, and even parts of the defense team were wrapping their arms around the Allen family. As for Richard Allen himself, he was sitting down, showed no emotion when that verdict was read, emotionless the entire time as all 4 counts were read in this case against him. Now, prosecutor Nicholas McLeland laid out a timeline from February 13th of 2017, and in that timeline, the prosecutor told the jury that Richard Allen put himself on the trail that day. They said that Richard Allen, when he was confessing more than 60 times, had information that only the killer would know. And they said in those confessions, Richard Allen was detailing what happened in this crime. And there also was that bullet found at the crime scene, the jury ultimately siding with the prosecution. The expert witness for the prosecution saying that the bullet found at the crime scene between Abby and Libby's bodies had been cycled through Richard Allen's gun. The defense said it was an untrusted science, but of course the jury deciding that it should be trusted, and I'm sure that's one of the pieces of evidence the jury considered. A number of phone call interviews, a number of video of Richard Allen inside of his cell that the defense said he was mentally unwell, the jury deciding otherwise. Again, the family escorted out together, but all of the family just kind of holding each other today. And it's a bit of a celebration for those family members of Abby and Libby. And of course, very hard for Richard Allen's family to understand that Richard Allen is going to be sentenced and found guilty on all 4 charges. His sentencing is set for December, later in December, where he will be sentenced on all 4 of those charges. But again, Richard Allen has been found guilty on all 4 counts in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. Mark. His demeanor, Mark, has kind of been the same throughout this entire trial. He hasn't really shown any emotion. It's been kind of expressionless, if you will. When the verdict was being read, it was much of the same. He sat there with his defense attorney, Andrew Baldwin, was rubbing the back of his head and was patting him on the back, but Richard Allen showed no emotion himself. And so it's kind of what we've seen come from Richard Allen throughout this entire trial. After that happened, Richard Allen was then handcuffed and escorted out of the courtroom as his family watched that happen and as Abby and Libby's family watched that happen. Yeah, there was 100 people or so wanting an opportunity to head inside of the courthouse. I was one of the lucky ones who got a chance to step inside, but stepping out, it's a lot of emotions. A lot of people from Richard Allen's arrest believe that police had the wrong guy. Ultimately, the jury deciding that was not the case. But many people thought that there was just circumstantial evidence. It wasn't enough to convict Richard Allen, but the jury thought otherwise. Despite circumstantial evidence or not, the jury thought that the prosecution had enough.
Trial, the jury finding Richard Allen guilty